Hello, welcome to Breast Implant Illness Hope for Healing. This is Cecily Henderson, your host. Thank you for joining us today. I have a very wonderful guest on. Her name is Tammy Scarlett. I met her a few months ago when I was seeking out some uplifting websites or connections on Facebook. And I came across her, somebody had invited me to her group, and I just remember looking at it because I'm very particular with what groups, I join because I want to make sure that, all whoever I represents, what I stand for. And when I looked at Tammy's group, I thought, wow, this is really positive and beautiful. And I'm just going to read this really quick on her page. It says, "Welcome to the Women's Wellness Network. Our vibrant community is a haven of support and empowerment for women from all walks of life. Embark on a transformative journey towards wellness and connection, embraced by the warmth of sisterhood and the sparkle of shared aspirations." Tammy, welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so glad that you've come on. Please introduce yourself a little bit. Tell us why you started the Women's Wellness Network. And you are also a breast implant illness thriver. So we'd like to hear your journey as well. But first, introduce yourself.
Okay, well, thank you so much for having me here today, Cecily. It's very nice to connect with you. I've seen a little bit of your work myself, and I love what you're doing. So thank you for doing that. Absolutely. We need more people who are out there doing the jobs and getting the message out. I think that is mostly important. Um, you are the first person that I opened up to about this, the implant illness part. Anything that has happened to me with the implants. I haven't really spoken too much about it, except, to close friends and that kind of thing. So I appreciate that you're doing this. And there are so many women that I know, even personally, who, they don't listen to me so much. They say healers can't heal in their hometown, and I do believe that is true. So the more people who are out there spreading the message and giving, news of hope, and hope is always it's one of those things that I changed for myself because I always felt like hope was missing something for me. Um, it left room for, you know, a negative or an unknown. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to change that. So hope for me is honoring our personal expectations. So I love hope now. It's a beautiful thing.
Oh, that's yeah. Well, that's one of the big reasons why I changed it, because I realized and noticed that there's so many women that are hopeless, right? Especially amongst all of this illness, and not just physical, but mental and emotional, and all of the societal pressures, right, that we're going through. So thank you for doing this and having a beautiful place that women can go to, and just I know you do a lot of interviews with women that they talk about their health journey and how they're helping women, which I love watching these interviews, right? Because you just connect with these women and these people. So, tell me, because I know it was about 6 months ago that you started the Women's
Yes,
Wellness Network, and you have almost 4,000 followers, right?
yes.
So tell me, what are you doing? Because this is just amazing. The growth is substantial for just a few months, right?
Yes, it really is. Thank you for that. It is, yeah, we're almost at 4,000 members. On the 19th of August will be our 6th month anniversary, birthday, whatever you want to call it.
Mhm.
And I think the growth is a testament to itself because it really is that safe space. It is a place for people who are either healing or are healers. So bringing them together so that they can find each other, so that they connect, you can listen, the interviews you mentioned, it really gives a positive space for somebody to be able to showcase themselves, to say who they are, and to actually, in their own words, um, with their own passions. When you see somebody on an interview and they're expressing who they are, that's how we can connect. That's how we can say, oh, yeah, that person's for me, or oh, that person I understand what they're talking about or how they're saying it. But that's another thing, speaking different languages of healing and in different ways, because we all come from different experiences and different backgrounds. And having the Women's Wellness Network was just seemed like just the right space for people to find each other. Because when I was going through, I had breast cancer before the implants. That was part of my reconstruction. And going through, right, going through all that, there was not really a space for to find information that I trusted or that um, that somebody who had gone through the journey was hosting or, you know, being being the guide to help others connect with each other. So I really felt like it was a necessary thing that was kind of needed in the world, so that we could get our stuff out there. I've studied after all my journey to become, I don't like the labels, but like a coach,
Mhm.
and having a place to bring that forward, like a heart-centered space that where people can come and, you know, receive what I have to offer, but also to receive what other people might have to offer, the people that helped me along the way. And bringing all the people together that helped me on my journey, and their kinds of modalities, I know will help so many other people. It really has been shown to me that we are all the same. We are all one. We are all connected. And what, somebody does over there in another country, whatever they're doing does affect, it ripples out. And I want to have a bigger ripple. I want to be a tsunami. I want to, you know, cover the world with grace and love and really make a harmonious experience for everybody, because I think that's a thing, right? Like we're a symphony. As humans, we're a symphony. We all play a different little frequency. We're all a different tune. But together we make this amazing, well, I like to call the Women's Wellness Network is like the sacred garden. And I think the whole world can be that. So that's what I'm striving for, I guess.
Oh my gosh, I love that analogy. The garden, and now we're a symphony. I love that. That's so it's it's what we need. Like you said, love,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And hope and togetherness. That's what we need. Unity, and we just don't
Mhm.
see that as much out there. Now, I would love for you to tell us a little bit about your breast implant illness journey.
Okay.
I know that we had briefly touched on it in when you had interviewed me, but I would like to know more. How I understand that you had breast cancer, but just kind of start from the beginning and let us know how it started, when you first recognized that you had breast implant illness, and then your journey.
Okay. Okay. Well, let's see. Yes, I had breast cancer. I did all the reconstruction as, per the Western way. Because I was going through a divorce at the same time, I did not have the capacity to discover anything else. I couldn't take in anything else. I just surrendered and handed myself over to the professionals. They're the experts. I had full trust in them. I had no reason not to. And you know, went through the whole treatment. Like I said, had full reconstruction, was back into my life. I was living, I was studying. When I'd gone through all that treatment, I realized there was some holes in the healthcare system and I wanted to be able to fill them. So I went back and I volunteered and really got in there, and then went to do some studying and was doing great, and everything was, looking wonderful. And next thing you know, weird things started to happen. I'm having a reaction to silicone where I'd never had a problem. You wear those skirts that have the little band to hold down the short underneath, and it would peel my skin right off with the silicone strip. Band-aids, I'd never had a problem with any band-aids in my life. Band-aids were making my skin peel off. The first thing I think I noticed was after reconstruction, I had the tattooing done. September, I believe, is when I had the tattoo. So I had a tattoo that says "Believe" under my breast cancer breast, and it was fine. I had to go back and get some touch-ups. So this was maybe like a month later or so,
Mhm.
and the ink wasn't taking properly. It was like my body was rejecting the ink. Like, oh, that's very strange. Okay, well,
Oh.
whatever. Well, maybe I'll try some different ink or go to somebody else or whatever. Um, and then I had the areola. I had the nipple reconstruction, and then I had the areolas tattooed on also.
Mhm.
And that turned into a nightmare. It's almost as bad as having mastitis. So yeah, it took a couple days. I had to still treat it as if it was kind of like mastitis. It felt like an infection in that way. And then, yeah, most of the tattooing that she had done came off.
Oh, wow.
It didn't take. So, yeah, I started to think, oh, that's very strange. Like, that's not normal. Still
Yeah,
not suspecting anything.
yeah, that must have been a little unnerving, right? To have that happen just more than once, right? For your
Yes.
mom going on and you'd already gone through breast cancer. I couldn't imagine.
And it was like, okay, well, I know something's not correct, but I'm not sure what it is. And breast implant illness awareness was not a thing then. So I just kept going along, and yeah, by the time the silicone was starting to peel off, that was the summer of 2018, and my breast cancer, the implants went in 2015, and so that was only a couple years, right? When still,
Yeah.
things started to go wonky, 3 years, I guess. And yeah, then I would have, if it was warm, if I was in a warm environment, my eyes would burn, my nose, my like inside my nose would burn. And I was like, what is wrong? Like, this is really weird. Am I having allergies or like what is happening? Like not putting two and two together, obviously not even cluing in at all. And then the breast implant awareness started to come out and people were talking about it. And then I realized maybe that is part of the problem. Um, Well, I was having also had really bad capsular contracture, which my new physician, because I've been moving so many times, she was sending me to a plastic surgeon and we were going to have it addressed. At that point in time, I was still thinking I was going to have implants put back in because I wasn't aware. I wasn't, I was hearing little things here and there, but I was in denial. I was, no, that's not me. I've gone through all this. I'm not gonna get them out. I can't, that can't be happening to me. And well, it was happening to me. So the capsule in the time that we were waiting to see the plastic surgeon, it ruptured. And it wasn't, there wasn't any significant incident that happened. It just opened up. And I didn't realize that it had opened even until I'd gone to bed. And I laid down and I felt this cold burning in the top of my chest. And I thought, that's very weird. Oh, well, maybe I pulled a muscle or something because I'd, taken down the Christmas tree a few days before that. And, you know, who knows what's going on in there? You
Right.
can't see
We
it.
we make excuses
We
sometimes.
totally do. Oh, we totally do. Yes. And so I thought, okay, well, I'll just, I'll be gentle with it or whatever. And I laid down and I went to lay on my side. I laid on my right side and I felt it come out. I felt it all come out. And it was like burning as if it was peppermint, but like acid.
Wow.
And it came out and it went into my armpit, down my arm. I felt it all the way to my fingertips. It went across to my center line because I was laying on my side. That was the first thing. It rolled over to my center line, and it made this like like a burst of not something was wrong. So I sat up and I felt it go down my arm, and as I'm sitting there just observing what was happening, I felt it go up the back of my neck. I could taste it, I could smell it, and then
Wow.
it hit my brain and I was out. And in that time when I could feel it going to my brain, I was thinking I should call 911. I didn't have time to get the phone. Even though it was right beside me, there was no time. And I woke up hours later. I think I went to bed like around 10. I don't even know. I can't remember. And I woke up in the middle of the night. It was, I think, 1:30-ish. So I'd been unconscious for that amount of time. And normally I wasn't on my own, but that night I happened to be by myself.
Do you know what type of breast implants you had?
I had they weren't saline, they were the gel,
They
the
were gel. Oh
texturized,
gosh.
yeah, Mentor texturized gel. They were on the recall list as far as I am aware.
Wow. Oh my
So,
gosh. That must have been
yeah,
terrifying.
it was terrifying.
Mm.
It was terrifying. But me being the way I am and having gone through so many things and never listening to my body, never listening to my intuition, my body was really just quite numb from all the experiences in my life. Um, so I was like, okay, I've had flus before, I've had illnesses before, I've had traumatic experiences. I've had a poisoning before. So I've had like a massive allergic reaction before. None of this is that. So, okay, I can, maybe I just need to go and have the doctor look at it and get it out. And at this time, it's hanging down a little bit. Like the integrity of it has, you know, it's gone. So it was drooping low, and it was that I came to find out afterwards that it was adhered to my ribs.
Oh my
So
gosh.
the
So
pain I was feeling,
you could
yeah,
physically see it hanging down. Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
Yeah,
Ugh.
I took pictures and things. I started to take pictures, and probably because I've been on the breast cancer journey, and really, my friends were amazing when I was going through breast cancer, and I was, starting to depict a little bit on Facebook, and I would talk about it, and everybody was very supportive, and it was wonderful. And that get it got me into the mode of documenting things. So I started to document things. And I went to the doctor, like after a couple days after the rupture, I called my doctor and said, you know, this is what's happened. I'm not too sure. She goes, okay, how are you in this moment? I said, well, I still feel pretty terrible. She's okay. I'm at this clinic. Come here. I need to see you. So I did. I went there and she gave me some steroids and she gave me some antibiotics and it was a Friday and she said, I could admit you. I can put you in the hospital, like absolutely for sure, no problem. Um, she goes, nobody's going to see you till Monday anyways. It's the weekend. So you can go home and be in your bed and take your meds and uh, come back and see me. So I thought, I've been in the hospital a lot of times and of course being in your bed is much better. So I went home and that began um, a journey of about 4 years of being in bed.
Wow.
So hindsight, I learned about the end block thing. I spent the 3 days that between the rupture happening and speaking to the doctor, getting the medications, trying to find out as much as I possibly could about
Yeah.
what could be going on.
Mm.
And yeah, then I was like, wow, maybe I should have I learned about the M block, so I thought I better wait and get that done because I don't want the other side to rupture and have that to happen because I wouldn't make it. I'm sure I wouldn't make it through that. So I waited. I had to move. I moved off of Vancouver Island back to the mainland in with my mom and waited for surgery. And the first surgery I was able to get that for a surgeon doing the M block procedure. Um, wasn't till March 26th or 25th or 26th, one of those days. So a few months later, like it was a while. And I was terrified that stuff was going to spill into me again. I didn't know if my body was making more. I didn't know if the capsule was going to close. I didn't know. I couldn't see. I could just see it. It wasn't where it used to be. And I felt bad. After the surgery, um, which of course, right after the surgery, I think this happens to most people who have their implants out. You are elated. You have so much energy. You feel so good because your body's finally not having to fight that particular thing within you. It's gone. So now it has this extra capacity to, reinvigorate you and energize you. But then there's the crash. It happens, and suddenly you realize, wait, I'm still sick, and holy, something is still not right here. I'm not, I'm having issues. Like I can't walk properly. I had to carry my own legs and to get upstairs. And other things might, like I had mentioned to you before, I thought I'd have a stroke. My language went all screwy, and my tongue was, if I looked at it, it was like cramped on the side. The rupture was on the left, and everything that has happened to me is on the left-hand side. My cancer was on the right-hand side, and I've had no issues. There was no rupture on the right side, just the left, and from nerve damage to strange little bits of things coming out of my skin. Um, this time where I thought I had a stroke, they said, no, 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 you didn't. But, the symptoms, the speech, the tongue thing, the frozen face, all those things, my left side just really so much less energy than it should have in comparison to the right side. Um, High sensitivity to like heat and cold, just with the nerves, but all the way to my fingertips. So any part that I felt that fluid go into me, it
Mhm.
affected. So, and the swelling that just won't go away. I believe there's still bits of, whatever in there. And I've improved vastly over the 4 years. It's been, well, five
So,
years now. Yeah.
so
So,
good.
I mean, there's hope, like that real hope, not just, that, oh, maybe it will, maybe it won't. No, there's actual hope for healing. And it's just finding the things that work for us, and finding people that we can talk to and that we can trust and that we can, you know, share the things with, because a lot of people, they don't want to know, they don't want to hear, they're afraid.
Mhm.
And even my plastic surgeon, I'd gone there. Um, I was having to express the fluid all the time, and I'd asked for the test, but they didn't do it. And had I done my diligence, I would have also not gone to him, because he, I had Mentor implants, and that was the brand that he used for to put into to women. So I did get the picture of, the after they took them out, but that was it. And they sent them off and nowhere to be seen again. And they didn't do the testing that I asked them to do. So, the stress of just that, plus, all the surgery, and not having anybody really to support in the medical way. Every other time you'd have, after going through cancer, they're great when you go through cancer. They have everything. They have every test, and they can offer you every specialist, and they send you there right away, and it's you're very well taken care of. But when it came to this, it was, we don't know anything. Maybe you can go over here. So I just gave up. I just said, I've had enough. They're doing, I think I did 3 MRIs, and they would not look in the place that I asked them to look. So that was enough, right? One of those
So,
MRIs came back, and they said, oh, it looks like you might have MS. I'm like, what? What is happening here? Yeah, and then they came back and said, no, no, we were mistaken. Just like, okay, I am done. I'm done with this system. I'm going to go find my own healing ways and figure out what to do for myself. And maybe it's slow. Maybe this is the most snail journey I've ever been on for a healing. Um, I used to heal very quickly. I've had, like I said before, multiple things happen to me in my lifetime. And this time was different. There were, bruises that wouldn't go away for months. Not, a bruise a couple days, 3 days, and it's gone normally. Now it's like, even now, it's still slow, but it's not like it was. So
yeah,
improving every day, working at it every day in some kind of way, and really believing that there is there's going to be a time when I'm going to be pre-implant. I'm going to be pre-breast cancer. I'm going to be the woman that I used to be physically, but now with all the stuff that I've learned, um, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, all the other things that I've learned, the gifts that I've gotten from that, even though it was a horrendous experience and I wouldn't wish it on anyone. I definitely encourage people who have implants to get them out before there's some sort of incident. And there's other ways, of course, after after cancer, that they can reconstruct if you decide that you want to do that. I myself, I'm concave. It doesn't matter to me. I realize now it's, um, I had them put in for all the wrong reasons. My husband had just left, and I didn't want to be, a breastless woman out there trying to, make new relationships and all that sort of thing. So, in the beginning, it was done for uh, the wrong reasons. It was vanity and it was shame and pride and all the things. And now those are healed. Now I can see, right? I didn't need to do any of that. So I'm more whole than I was ever before in my life.
Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad to hear that. And you brought up some really good points that women need to hear because we do, right? We sometimes do these things because of the wrong reasons. It doesn't make us bad people, but it does create an emotional stress, I think, on us as well as the physical stress, right? Because we're held up to these standards,
Right,
and when you are able to just overcome, release all of that, you feel so free, right? You just feel more empowered because you don't have to, you're not held to those standards. You don't have those boundaries, right? So that
right,
I love that you brought that up because we do need to talk more about the emotional and mental and spiritual aspect of breast implant illness and about breast implants in general, right?
right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't talk about my why I had thyroid cancer and I had lost a lot of weight and ended up with tubular breast syndrome, which is a deformity. And so I had talked to my husband. I didn't do it for him because he's like, "No, you're fine. I love you just the way you are." I did it because I felt like I needed to fit in, right? That I needed to do this to feel better because I had lost all the weight from my cancer. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to do this for myself. And unfortunately, it ended up being the worst, decision of my life. But it's because we were so pressured into thinking that's the norm, right? That's
Mhm.
how you feel normal, or that's how you feel good about yourself. And
Right.
it's not. That's not the way. And we need to have good um, groups and therapists and mentors that need to talk about that you're beautiful no matter if you have breasts or not, right? We need that. So thank you for bringing.
100%.
Yeah.
Oh, you're very welcome. You just reminded me, while one of the things that I was able to do while I was in bed was become a best-selling author. So I wrote a chapter in a woman's book. It's quite like Chicken Soup for the Soul. It's called Women of Worth, uh, the book series, and I'm in book 6. And I talk about, about my journey and, a little bit about cancer and a little bit about the rupture and the way that the system was, it was not set up to support me in that time. And, it took me right back to the time when I first, of course, after you're really dealing with a lot of stuff in this area, it makes you focus and look at things that might have come up in the past or reasons why you might have had trauma there or why trauma was being held there. And one of the things, it's kind of a joke. It's not like the main thing, but for me going forward, I would like to be known as a supermodel, but not, supermodel, the kind that, you know, wears pretty clothes and such. I want to be a super role model. And I was told, in a very crowded public place full of my friends that when I was 20 years old, you could be a supermodel if you only had breasts. They didn't say it quite nice like that. Um, so yeah, that was one of those things. And I'm like, I'm still going to be a supermodel. You just wait, mister. You just wait.
Good for you. Well, you are definitely a super model for everyone and all the women that in your group and women that are listening to this because we it's just important to have that confidence, right? And to know your worth. I you didn't even tell me that you had a book series, so let's talk a little bit
Oh,
about that.
here, yes, I'm in, this is Woman of Worth.
Oh, I love it.
Yes, this is book six, so I'm in book six. It's a whole series. It's quite like Chicken Soup of the Soul, but it's all women's stories, their journey through healing, and all different kinds of issues. And yeah, it's really worth the whole series is amazing because it's full of regular women who've gone through some stuff. And it's just such a nice way to be able to um, even learn a little bit. It's kind of like an interview, right? It's like a small, 8, 10 page chapter, just to learn about the story, about the person, about maybe what they've gone through, and if in any way that we could help.
Hey, where can we get the book? Because I would love to read it, to read your
I
series.
do believe it, yeah, I do believe it is still on, I still believe it's on Amazon.
Okay.
We did become, it became a bestseller, which was in 17 categories, I believe, which is
Yay.
amazing, right?
That is amazing.
Um,
Wow.
yeah, so, um, whoops, that's another thing. My earbuds are silicone, and my ears kick them out all the time, still. So that's really weird, but it's
The
true.
body knows best, right? Body
Right?
knows best.
Absolutely. Anyways, you can find it. It's at the Women of Woman, not women, but Woman of Worth .com,
Word.
I believe is. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, I'll make sure to put the information up there for everybody. That's thank you. I feel like my soul has been filled this podcast and this interview with you. I appreciate that. You're just such a positive and uplifting role model for everybody. And I appreciate that because we need it. We desperately need that right now as women and to stick together and be uplifted and uplift each other. So thank you
That's
for
right.
what you do.
You're very welcome. Thank you also.
You, Tammy. Well, thank you for everybody who is joining us today. And I just want to make sure, once again, letting everybody know, especially today, that there is hope for healing. God bless.